Okay. I don't want this to sound like a Fuji fanboy, but let's just state the truth here for a second, okay? Somebody picked up a couple people complaining and moaning about their Fujifilm, their Fujifilm lens. One of them, by the way, had an issue with, I think I counted 15 specks of dust. And one of them had a crushed filter. Well, now the crushed filter has to do not with Fujifilm, but with shipping and poor shipping practices, which are obviously outside the realm of Fujifilm. But as a person who owns nearly 500 lenses and has had countless thousands of lenses pass through my hand, if you think a new lens shouldn't have a speck or two or dust, it actually averages between 5 and 15 or so little specks of dust. If you think your new lens doesn't have any specks of dust in it, you're delusional. They all do. I've acquired myself new Zeiss lenses straight out of the box. Oh my God, there's a big hunk of something. What it usually is, 99 times out of 100, is this. It's called inner barrel flocking, and what it is depends on the lens manufacturer, how they actually do it, whether it is painted on a dull matte finish, and it usually is UV absorptive, so it's actually not transmitting UV as the light's bouncing around, because you don't want UV hitting the sensor. I've actually talked to a technical photographer who does multi-spectrum sensor conversions, and he talks about various inner barrel flocking having a UV resistance. But anyway, between the elements there's actually flocking, depending on the lens manufacturer and how they actually do this, to cut down on light bounce and inner element bounce as pertains to the barrel. So when they actually mount these lenses, Fujifilm or whoever makes it will examine the lens. It'll be perfectly fine. When it gets jostled on its way from China or Japan over here to the United States, just a tiny little fleck of that flocking on the interior of the barrel between X element and Y element will fall off, and it will make its way to the interior surface of some lens element. Each and every lens that you buy, unless you're super lucky, there's actually a statement someone made a long time ago, and I forget who made it, that if you don't see dust in your brand new lens, then you're either A, don't have enough bright light shining through it, or B, not looking at it at the right angle, because they all do. So this notion, and Pedal Your Pixel picked this up, and I was actually kind of pissed, not because I'm trying to defend Fujifilm, but this notion that there are quote-unquote quality control issues. I've complained about a couple of things Fujifilm's done in the distant past, but I mean, for God's sakes, this sure as hell isn't one of them. If you get a lens that has 10 specks of dust in it and you shine a really bright light through it on your new lens, not only A, is that normal, every other lens has it, so that's not a quality control issue. Plus additionally the fact that I saw that the broken lens hood was split in 3 different places in a very short section, and that means that the lens that was actually the lens hoods from Fujifilm are not packed like Zeiss or Nikon. They're actually packed like many of Nikon's larger lenses. And they're packed in a separate compartment. They're not actually styrofoam insulated, which actually absorbs a lot of the shock. It's a good way to actually pack the lens hoods, but it's just packed loosely around with the lens. The lens sleeve, which is a piece of felt with a drawstring on it, like on a GF lens. So if there's too much actually impact applied to the box, it could crush the lens hood. But that's not a quality control issue. That's an issue with shipping and processing from Japan to the United States, and who knows thence to who, or wherever to England. But there are no issues. And it's not just every lens company on earth, whether it be Zeiss, Leica, Nikon, Fujifilm, absolutely and undeniably there's going to be, oh God, I don't know what the percentage is. I mean, it's astronomically low. All of them are checked before they leave the factory. Not all, well, not all the ones like the really cheap ones from Nikon. I think even some of their really cheap ones are just super mass produced. They're not even checked to sure if they see if they autofocus. They're, you know, a little $400 stupid kit lens. I mean, they're all checked before they leave the factory, but you know, there's going to be a handful of them. Just, you know, like, I think the best rated car or SUV is like the Toyota RAV4. I mean, you know, eventually someone across the country is going to get a lemon. This does not mean or imply Fujifilm has a quality control issue, nor the hell does, 10 or 8 or 5 microspecks of dust have any issue with quality control. And I absolutely, and I'm 100%, I'm actually 1,000% certain of this statement. One person on another photography website who the petapixel picked up was complaining about a large speck inside their Fujifilm GF 110mm, which I have that lens, and it was a piece basically like a ½ millimeter wide. A, it will affect nothing in your image, and B, that is not a quality control issue because when it left the Fujifilm plant, that was never seen. That is intra-barrel flocking. It's the interior lining of the barrel of the lens, which is A, UV resistant, and B, designed to cut down on luminal reflection between elements and also as the light is passing from the front element to the rear element to the sensor. That is intra-barrel lens flocking. That's not a quality control issue. The only place where an absolute supreme necessity, and they use a type of a baked, I think it's enamel paint, where absolutely no dust is allowed, the only optics on Earth where no dust is allowed, where more than 2 elements are concerned, 2 or more elements are concerned, is in laser optics because there's so much energy being passed between the elements that even a microspec could build up heat and actually cause a crack in one of the lens elements because enormous amounts of energy are passing through. Now, regular light, regular light and speed lights and strobes are not generating, 50, 100 watts of energy as they're passing from the front element to the rear element to the sensor. So those are the only optics where 0 dust is allowed. I call nonsense, hogwash, and BS on that article. Never should have been posted on that website saying, "Oh, there's a quality control issue at Fujifilm." I know a lot of people are going to comment below and say I'm just being a Fuji fanboy and sticking up for Fuji, but it is BS. It's absolute BS. Never picked up a new lens that didn't have a few microspecks of dust in it. And if you see a large speck in there, it's lens flocking. It's exactly what the hell it is. And it was never seen at the factory when it rattled its way from Japan or China over to your home country, and then to the distributor, and then to the retailer, and then from the retailer to the UPS truck to the FedEx truck to your home. A tiny little piece came loose. And the reason why it came loose, in most cases, and it always is flocking, is because when they actually placed that lens in there, some flocking existed that was knocked off by the outer rim of that element when they seated it. But they blew it off as they made their way through. They checked it again before adding the additional element, depending on how expensive the lens was, or whether it was just mass-produced. I mean, the GF lenses are all very slowly handmade at Fujifilm. I think Fujifilm actually would find great offense at that article published today, because it never should have been published. It was BS. And Fujifilm sure as hell is not responsible for shipping, cracking a lens hood as it's making its way from Japan to the United States or to England or Europe or wherever it originally, that's an issue with shipping. You ever see UPS and FedEx drop kick that crap off the truck? Either that or someone's really poor shipping methodology. Yeah, so I'm calling nonsense on quality control issues on Fujifilm lenses. It's BS. It's absolute BS. Not my opinion that it's BS. It is BS. Write a real article, huh? Write a real article, Give me a break. Lens flocking. Oh my god! Chicken Little skies. Oh my god, there's quality control issues at Fujifilm. No, there's not. Shut the hell up.